So, Sebastian is going to present us about, some tough task we have sometimes to debug the audio, the RTP. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you again, the Pascom team, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good lunch. And now it's my part to keep your eyes open in this hard first slot after the lunch break. What I'm going to do is I want to take you on a journey through a problem that we encountered this winter and how we finally solved it and what we learned and how we made our product or the life of our customers and co-workers better. So first thing, something about Pascom. My ad blocker got updated. It's from IP tables to NF filter, or NF tables. This is our office in Deggendorf. That's where we are based. And the company was founded in 1997 as an IT consultant company, did mostly network telephony setup and what those IT consultants do. And then when the first open source voice over IP products popped up, they thought, let's develop our own voice over IP system. And so in 2006, it was when the first PBX product called Moby Dick was released. Today, we are a fully fledged cloud PBX system. And actually, we were one of the first to offer a full solution with our own desktop and mobile apps. And of course, we can automatically configure VoIP phones and do not only calls, but also video and chat with our own clients. We are certified in multiple ways. You see it there on the roll-ups as well, have this extremely expensive C5 certification, which is good in Germany, so we can have doctors and more for our as customers. And we are a DATEV partner, so we have tax are good for tax companies as well. Yeah, and before we were we were a bring your own trunk PBX solution, but since 2021 we are a all-in-one solution with our Pascom One product, so you don't need different accounts with different providers. And of course, there's AI inside as well. A bit about me. I joined Pascom in 2021 and have been here in different colors before, but the last 5 years in red. And have been doing telco, open source telco stuff since 2006. And today I'm more on the DevOps side, so with Jenkins, Ansible, monitoring, and all that stuff. But when it comes to telephony issues or new features, then this ends up on my desk as well. And we have our marketing department as well, and they made these wonderful 25 years of Kamailio cans, and please take them home with you. Take them to your colleagues that can't be here. Take them to your wife or husband, or and we have more. If there's nothing on your table anymore, come to us.
It's not allowed in the luggage.
Huh?
It's not allowed in the luggage.
Then take it home empty. Okay, disable your ad blocker, and then yeah. How did our problem start? Yeah, there was this one day the DevOps team was playing table soccer and ping pong and whatever we do all day, and customer and suddenly the customer support came in and said, there are too many one-way audio calls that our customers report. And he thought, audio issues. We tried to hide under the table soccer table, and waited for it to go away automatically. Yeah, but it didn't. And we already thought so because we had done something before. We had upgraded our RTP engine from 10.5 to 13.5. And there are some specials in our setup. We have a containerized setup. The containers doing telephony, they are running with host networking. But we still want to use the kernel module for kernel forwarding. And so we need the kernel module in the host image, but use it from inside the container and stuff. And we had done this already before, but the change from 10.5 to 13.5 brought some changes with it. And mainly, RTP engine dropped the IP table support. So the solution we had before with enabling the kernel forwarding didn't work anymore. So we had to change, find a different solution and have it based on NFT table or to support NF tables now. And for that, we had to switch our networking stack from CNI to Network because CNI doesn't support NF tables. And now we have a solution manually enabling kernel forwarding during the RTP engine start, but that's just a small detail. And yeah, well, customer support said there are too many one-way audio complaints that to be normal. And luckily, RTP engine has a lot of Prometheus metrics, so we could check those. And you see the yellow graph is the old version and the green one is the new version. The header is actually wrong. That's one-way audio sessions in 1 hour. But you definitely see that there's something different than before. And another graph is the packet errors of the RTP engine, and this is pretty low usually. And if there are packet errors, then they are mostly only in user space. But now, since the update, we had packet errors in kernel, and that's definitely not normal. So we don't know what to do. So maybe first step is ask Richard if he knows something. So I filed a bug ticket with an extremely great ticket title. I explained a bit what we saw, and you know what you could expect what came back. Okay, Richard couldn't help us right now. So we had to dig in ourselves. Of course, first thing you do is restart. Restart helps, always. And actually, yeah, it did. After the restart, customer complaints were gone, but only for a few days. And it wasn't too often, but the customers always said, yeah, we have to dial twice because on the first attempt we don't hear anything. And yeah, it was just too often to be just something else. Yeah, and the only thing we had for debugging is we were sending or are sending the signaling information to Humor, but nothing related to audio. Oh, I can tell you what doesn't help you. Ask your support guys to collect those calls. You'll get tons of examples, And some of them you don't even find in Humor. Some of them are with the wrong timestamp, and you don't know which one of those calls that you find is the one that the customer reported. You will get photographed A4 papers with handwritten examples, and at the end you keep hunting headset problems probably. But you don't know which one of those examples is actually related to the problem that we were looking for. Okay, then we thought, how can we reproduce it? And for the next slides, I'll probably get a discount after the talk from somebody here in the room. Because luckily, we already had some solution. Yeah, we had set this up, and Zipfront was already placing at a low rate regular calls, and but it was running at the site, and nobody really looked at it, and yeah, but it was there, and that was good, and we already knew from the customer support complaints the parameters, or our calls were affected as well, and so we had in-house complaints about the same problem, and so we knew the parameters. There was no audio from the beginning, and so already short calls would catch it. This helps with the minute calculation with Zipfront, and if we place calls from one party in our network to another party in our network, then we could double the chance of catching some error calls. So we cranked up the volume of call tests. We let it run every 4 minutes during the business hours, yeah, and then just had to wait. And Zipfront comes with some graphs that show you the success rate, and yeah, we knew that there were some hits, and then it actually shows you what the reason is why the call failed, and yeah, those were the two main reasons were those that we already expected. Either caller doesn't have audio, or the callee doesn't have audio, and yeah. I call this slide 50 Shades of Red. And luckily, Zipfront also has Prometheus exporters and an API, and so we could integrate it into our own monitoring solutions, and even write a check for Itzinga to know whenever it happens. Okay, we could reproduce it. Now we still didn't know what it was, so we have to isolate it. And yeah, that's basic network Linux admin stuff. Yeah, just use TCP dump ngrep, use the asterisk debugging, whatever. Yeah, and we have in our setup the Zipfront calls were running through a special PBX, and so we had a dedicated IP that we could grab, could we sniff and capture the packets. And yeah, what we saw there was packets were going fine from one side to the other, and they came back, and so didn't find anything on the network. But is there something that Kamailio can do for us? And while studying the functions, we stumbled upon the RTP engine query v function. This one, when using this in your Kamailio code, you get a JSON object of everything that RTP engine knows about this call at that point of time when you call it. And then you can do whatever you want with it. You can log it, or we ended up sending it to Humor. So you can just do it before hanging up the call. And you can, since this is Kemi code, as you see, you can limit it to from URI or the domain or whatever fits you best to not use it for or to just use it for those calls where you need it. Yeah, and then we and since it's Kemi, we could enable this on the fly. So that's the dream of every DevOps, hacking something into the production system. And we didn't have to wait for another night and a deployment and a restart of the Kamailio, losing all the TLS sessions and all that stuff. And so, yeah. And what we found there is RTP engine doesn't see the audio. I mean, we saw on the PCAP traces that the packets actually arrived on the system, but RTP engine didn't see it. What's wrong there? There's something in between the RTP engine or the packet arriving and the RTP engine seeing it, and that's the kernel module. And the kernel module keeps a list in the proc file system with all the ports that it currently has in use. And you can just open it or cat it, and that's what I did. And this is actually a screenshot of the bug ticket that I had still had open with the RTP engine maintainer. And yeah, what I found there is was something with a really high error rate. In fact, it was so high that Richard didn't believe that this was an actual output, and he thought that there might be a kernel module and RTP engine version mismatch and stuff. And yeah, but actually this output that we saw there was from a call that had already ended, and it shouldn't be there anymore. And so we knew that RTP engine didn't free up our all ports that it had opened in the kernel. So we knew what happened, but we still didn't know when. And there was one option that wasn't possible for us is set log level 7 for the whole RTP engine and log everything, because that would have made our Loki explode. And then we sat there and studied the docs again and found one undocumented but effective flag. You can actually pass the word debug as a flag to the RTP engine offer. And what that does is it enables the log level 7 for just this single call. And this proved to be a real game changer for us. And when I say undocumented, Daniel, there's a pull request, 4719. It is documented in RTP engine docs, but not in Kamailio for when using it. And but I just tried it, and it works. And this actually helped us find the solution then. And what the root cause was, when a 200 OK arrives, sometimes the stream is modified, and what RTP engine then does is it deletes it from the kernel and reinserts it into the kernel module. And sometimes this didn't work, and we got some failed to delete relay stream from kernel messages. And we saw those messages already earlier, but the problem was that the call that caused this misfunction wasn't affected by audio problems because the kernel module still stayed open for this call. And RTP engine didn't clean it up at the end of the call because it had an error in between when the session was modified. And when the next call came in that wanted to reuse this port, then RTP engine couldn't kernelize the stream, and that's why they had one-way audio. So this was the actual fix. The unkernelize was replaced by an unkernelize with locking. Yeah. Was it fixed? I'd say so. Customer support was happy again, and yeah. And we were happy again, could go back to play table soccer. So how could these learnings help our customers? The first thing is we could empower our customer support to tell when it's a problem of the devices not sending any audio. And since we have applications and they are mostly working on the Mac or Windows, and they are mostly working with a headset, the headset problems are the most cause of of audio issues that we usually encounter. And previously, our support guys sometimes they started PCAP capture on the PBX of our customers, and then waited until the problem reoccurred, and then they examined the output, and then they told the customers, it's your device not sending anything. And now they can do it with just looking into our Humor and seeing the RTP engine logs where it says there are no packets received from the device. And the thing we are currently working on is use those stats that we now have in Humor and make them visible for the customers themselves. So our customers already have a dashboard that where they can see all their calls going in and out of their PBX, and we want to enrich this information with audio-related content. And then our customers won't even need to contact our customer support anymore because they can see it already in there by themselves when their devices have a problem. Yeah, and that was basically it. That was our story from the winter. Painful learning, but got our system got it better. Questions?
That's the difference between 20 years ago with hairs and today without no hairs. Sometimes you face this, but again, with help of other tools from open source or from the, let's say, ecosystem, like now with the SIP front, and getting closer and closer, yeah, you solve it. And thank you for sharing. That's quite useful insights. So now, question, story, okay.
I have actually two questions. The first one is the RTP engine module already, after RTP engine delete, has the ability to set stats into a lot of AVPs, but you chose to use the query V. Is the stats you get from the query V at the end of the call have more information that's what's exposed through the AVPs in the module?
Yeah. I mean, we did it because we could actually use this function without restarting Kamailio. And for configuring the
you don't want to change the module
gazillion variables in the mod param of the RTP engine.
Yes, and the second question, what version of RTP engine is your fix in?
It was, Richard fixed it in the in the master and then backported into 13 and 12, I think.
Okay, thanks.
Just want to add a few words to it, because there was quite some rolling back and rolling forward involved, so we didn't keep our customers in the rain, of course. And we used that data, the JSON data that we get. First, we pumped it into a database and wanted to find out how many are actually affected. And here the JSON was quite useful together with Postgres in a JSON BigQuery. And that's the reason why this format was for us just better.
Yeah. And if you have it in separate variables, then you have to combine them to some log string or whatever. And
I built a JSON document and put it in CDI.
One question in the far end, Yuri, coming to you. I need to call a Uber. Wait a second.
Yeah, rtpengine has its own API, so basically which Kamailio use via the module, and you can trigger query from that API for the external, with external software or whatever, by tracking call. Why you decide to go with Kamailio in that case?
because it's we have a dedicated point when I mean, we do it before the call gets hung up, and I mean, if we did it from outside, we would have to do it like periodically, and those calls are pretty short, and you probably most of the times won't catch them.
Yeah, and you got the context with call ID and everything.
Yeah,
Otherwise
yeah,
you need
yeah,
to
and,
keep it
and we
outside.
can correlate it to the call ID and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so sharp in time like a Swiss watch with the Pascom guys. Thank you.